Hey guys, what's up? It's me, Super Nerd Pharaoh here, and you might have seen that subscriber number counter past the 25 mark, so I figure 5 times 5 is plenty enough to do my second Ultimate Pokemon Picker Storytime Yap Sesh sub special. I really do appreciate everybody who's swung by and left a comment or give me feedback on my, equipment and stuff, my new microphone that I love so much. And, just stoking the conversation, giving me the numbers that tell my brain to love itself, because this is a labor of love. But I've had I've had YouTube channels in the past where it's like I did nothing but provide useless data to the internet and just no one paid attention forever. But the engagement has actually kind of gone up. Even the videos that don't get attention hit more than 100, which is cool because that's like 5 times 20, which was the very consistent number before. Anyways. As you know, the Ultimate Pokemon Picker is just when I show my favorite Pokemon from every generation in every type category and a couple of special categories. And I probably have a story, a nickname, experience that made me love this Pokemon as much as I did. Full disclaimer. And by disclaimer, I mean for people who know what I talk about on this channel. I don't really value shinies that much. Shinies aren't my favorite thing to talk about or gush about. And a lot of my formative experiences with Pokemon happened in Generation 1 and Generation 2, especially the entire time in elementary school and middle school that I was playing Pokemon Stadium 2, because that was the only Pokemon game that I had for a very long time, including the cartridges. So just doing rental metas in that game and experiencing mastering the type charts and what Pokemon were good and what were not, especially with regards to Generation 2. Because as you'll know, Generation 2 is when Pokemon Stadium 2 was. So, without further ado, let's talk about Generation 2's Ultimate Pokemon Picker picks. I'm going to drag my head down here as I do. And I might, in post, while I'm editing, I'm probably definitely going to put some videos displaying my favorites. So, for the normal type, these are some good choices. I really like Dunsparce. Dunsparce is one of my favorite Pokemon of all time, but it was maybe top 3. I want to say when I started my first Pokemon channel back in 2017. You'll never know the name of that one, but Dunsparce was definitely number 3, and I like Dunsparce for its rarity and what it represents as a shit postmon, basically. I like to use it because it has really good HP for a beginner Pokemon. And then I think another runner-up would be Miltank, who I like as a counterpart to Tauros, which is one of my all-time favorite normals for sure. But I'm going to have to go with Teddiursa for this pick, because Teddiursa represents a lot of things that I appreciate about Generation 2 and Pokemon in general. First of all, the constant expansion of possibility with easy canvas. Teddiursa is just that. It's a canvas kind of Pokemon where maybe when it was first implemented wasn't all that. I guess it was, because in Pokemon Stadium 2 in Little Cup, Teddiursa is an absolute demon because it learns Thrash and you can give it a Bitter Berry to, get it from Confusion, so it's really good. And that's why I like it mostly out of recency, but also the attention that Teddiursa has gotten in the recent games with, Ursaring getting Guts and then getting access to Eviolite in Generation, I want to say 9 now. I don't think Ursaluna was available for play in Sword and Shield, but then Blood Moon Ursaluna came out, and that's probably one of my favorite mineral type Pokemon of all time. It's amazing. Teddiursa is just such a good Pokemon in that regard and what it represents to me. I don't really have a traditional nickname for Teddiursa, but I do, in celebration of the Freddy Fazbear's jokes, my Ursaluna Blood Moon is named Lefty. For the fire types, definitely going to have to go with Houndoom out of all these. I do like Typhlosion. I've chosen it for my starter several times, but as I've started to not like starters as much as I used to, and especially as I don't particularly like any legendaries except for some special ones like Mewtwo. Houndoom it would have been perfect if it could be experienced in the Johto experience while it was, in Generation 2. It sucks that it was in Kanto. But what Houndoom has done in every single Pokemon game that I've used it in, it's been a reliable attacker and something that I have to kind of treat preciously because its defenses are really bad, and that'll become very evident later in the game in any run. It doesn't matter if you're running a difficulty ROM hack or a normal, easy, schmeezy mainline Pokemon game, you were going to have to end up prioritizing using Houndoom as a all-out glass cannon, or you're just going to have it faint a lot. But it's also one of the most unique designs to come out of Johto, and honestly, wondering how, because Pokemon's a very kid-friendly, you know, TV show. Pokemon's a very kid-friendly IP, and Houndoom is not entirely kid-friendly. It makes some references that it's got skulls, it's a hellhound, all that stuff. It's a pretty mature design for a kid's game. But, I mean, it started out as a kid's IP. I don't know what Pokemon is anymore. I want to, like, disavow the notion that it's a kid's game, because most of the fans who play are adults, and that even though that's not what the marketing's been focusing on, you know, people very much wish that they would treat us like we are. My Houndoom's name last time I named it was Dobtober, which is October, which is the month of my birthday. But Doberman Tober. Pretty sure I caught that thing close to my birthday, because when I first bought Pokemon Violet, it was on my birthday like 3 years ago or something like that. Anyways, for water types, you know, this game's got a good bevy of water types. For the longest time, I thought I liked Lantern until it like kind of let me down generation after generation. Octillery is definitely a rare pick. I don't think any like normal trainer in a Pokemon game often has Octillery. It's a kind of a sleeper pick, especially as a water type Pokemon that can learn Flamethrower, which I find incredibly good. But you know who can learn all the same special moves as Octillery and still be able to take a hit? Something that I've come to respect in recent times is Slowking. Slowking is a great evolution branch Pokemon, definitely. I think the whole thing about it talking, because it has hyper intelligence from like the Sheldon toxins in its head, is pretty fantastical and stupid, honestly. But I do like using Slowking in the games I can get my hands on it in, and I think the Galarian Slowking variant is also pretty cool. But Slowking definitely takes this pick. I do like how reliable it is. It's a unique pick. If you have it, it'll stand out, because it's literally a standout Pokemon. It's standing up and it's got its hands behind its back to be polite and stuff. I do like Slowking a lot. It's probably, yeah, definitely the best water type from Generation 2. For grass Pokemon, definitely going to go with Jumpluff. Jumpluff, I think like my opinion has shifted, but like 10 years ago, I don't know, I think it because Jumpluff has been like a nightmare in Ranbats for every Ranbats meta that it's a part of. But as a ultimate support Pokemon, it's fast, you know, it gains power, speed, and chlorophyll. It's a really good Pokemon in its own right, and early on it just wasn't, but it's grown significantly, and it's a really good water type, and I like almost everything about it. It's cute, it's powerful, it's annoying, and again, not a very common pick for enemy trainers in games, which is really cool for if you want to like have like, you know, your fake ace and stuff. For electric type Pokemon, wow, decent amount, but my eyes are focusing on an Elekid here. When I was a little kid, maybe like in the 4th or 5th grade, my parents got me a Pokemon cake for my birthday. And on that Pokemon cake were 2 electric Pokemon. It was a yellow cake from Publix. Publix makes the best cakes, by the way. Well, on time of recording. And it's been like that for the past, like, as long as I've been alive. The Publix bakery has made the best cakes. But on this Publix bakery cake, there were 2 figurines, an Elekid and a Pikachu. And the Pikachu, I don't know what happened to it. I honestly don't. But the Elekid, I kept for the longest time on my writing desk when I was, like, studying for school and stuff. And when I had, like, grown up and all my toys got commandeered by my parents for, like, you know, keepsakes, that Elekid doll stayed on my mom's desk. I think it's still on my mom's desk to this day, and it's been a very long time. It's been over 20 years for sure. So I do love Elekid. I wonder, because I wasn't the only kid on the planet who got that Elekid figurine. I wonder, I was never dumb enough to stick it in the plug, because I was like raised smarter than that. But I do wonder if that Elekid, because it was the perfect size to fit like in a US plug outlet socket thing. So I do wonder if that thing ever caused any trouble for anybody. For the ice type, I'm gonna have to go with Piloswine here. Piloswine is a very reliable and unique ground type Pokemon for which I have a ton of respect. I think it's got like this nice mysterious stoic look about it that kind of gets put down in Pokemon Stadium 2 when its little hair flaps reveal its closed eyes or whatever, its little simple eyes. But also it's incredibly reliable in rental meta in Pokemon Stadium 2 for a ground type Pokemon that has Earthquake, which is, I think you'll see that later on this list too. It's just maybe they were just trying to showcase them well. But Piloswine, definitely a really good Pokemon with really good abilities and implications that came later in the series as Mamoswine kind of connected the Piloswine and Donphan things through ancestry, and later, well, we'll see. For the fighting type, now I like all these Pokemon. I do like Tyrogue for the potential that it has, and I wish they'd given Tyrogue more evolutions to represent more fighting styles. Heracross is my boy, but I've never loved Heracross. I've always liked Heracross. However, Hitmontop has always been there, especially in that Pokemon Stadium 2 Topsy-Turvy game that I always try to get people to play. Like, if I'm trying to get you to play Pokemon Stadium 2 with me, I'm going to challenge you to a Beyblade match and we're going to play some Topsy-Turvy. Hitmontop has not been treated very well in the past couple of years, model-wise. They took it off the top of its head and they make it do capoeira on its feet now, which is dumb. It's got a spinning top for a head. It should spin like a top on its head. Stop doing that in Generation 6, and that's dumb. But I do like using Hitmontop as a support fighting type, like a fake Incineroar type, you know, Intimidate lead with Wide Guard and Fake Out, and it's got decent, I mean, it's a pretty decent Incineroar counter, honestly, but well, not counter, because it can't like one-shot it after the Intimidate, whatever, you know what I mean. It's got, I like the appeal factor of Hitmontop, definitely in learning to make a Hitmontop as a kid, like back when evolutions meant that they flashed between their silhouette and the other, so you could absolutely make sure that the Pokemon you were evolving was the Pokemon that you wanted as a split evolution, which is like a lost feature these days. Hitmontop required precision and patience for sure, and I respect people who use one. For poison types in Generation 2, oh man. See, these are two really good choices, but I'm going to have to go with Crobat. Crobat, I used to think that Crobat was good just because it was a friendship evolution and you teach it return and have like a high base power normal attack. Super fast. I think it's the fastest non-mega, non-legendary, non-prankster Tailwind in the game, which is a lot of disqualification. That is to say that it's one of the fastest Tailwind setters. It's really good support Pokemon. It's got Hypnosis. It's got an incredibly fast Haze. And those things I like for, especially like late game, when enemy Pokemon trainers start getting the Snowball or like get like a Calm Mind or a Coil Off and like, oh crap, what do I do now? Crobat is there to save the day. Also, I think I mentioned it last sub-special for this kind of thing, but it's turning a trash mob like Zubat into a true shooter like Crobat, one of the coolest things. And of course, friendship evolution to show the generational gimmick meant anyone who had a Crobat back in the day had my respect. It's not the easiest Pokemon in the game. It requires patience and, you know, time, which is cool. For ground types, now the choices here are thick, honestly. The Tyranitar line is really good. Gligar's here. Gligar's awesome. And I've already chosen Piloswine, so it's going to have to be Donphan. Now, Donphan is like a situational like pocket pick for me, especially like if I'm trying to like play like competitive, but it's got sturdy, but it's also got like for its stat base total, I think its distribution does the best. It's kind of min-maxed, but it learns Earthquake, you know, it learns Rapid Spin, so it's a really reliable physical type Pokemon. And it's all like in later generations, as I was alluded to with the ice types, it got connected with the Mamoswine line as a descendant, so it can learn Ice Shard too, which means Donphan can enter a bad situation against like a Pokemon that has a type advantage against it that can still get a decent lick off of and finish them off with Ice Shard, which I found was incredibly useful during Generation 9 competitive doubles. But that might just be me. I do like everything about Donphan. The little racing game that it came with in Pokemon Stadium 2 was amazing, and I do like its design. Later generations gave it like Iron Treads, which I didn't like very much, but Great Tusk was basically Mega Donphan, and I love it for that, you know? For flying types, gonna have to go with Skarmory. Now, all these Pokemon are great. I do love Murkrow as my go-to prankster support Pokemon, and I do like Togetic and Lugia, and Mantine honestly is really cool. The rest of them can kick rocks, but Skarmory is an exemplary tank Pokemon. I think it stands out. The first thing I do when I go to Blackthorn City in any Pokemon game, any Pokemon like Johto game, is I catch a Skarmory. Skarmory is not used by like any other trainers, I'm pretty sure. I mean, someone can pull up our Prima guide and prove me wrong for all this. It's not used by any trainers, but what I mean is like it's not prominently used by the trainers that in the games that it's catchable in. And I think that's super cool because that means you can have a better attachment to Skarmory while feeling like you're unique. It's very tanky. As a steel type, it's incredibly respectable. I think it shows off both of its types incredibly well. Better than a lot of Pokemon manage to do, being a decent attack flyer with having the defensive capacities of a steel type and having that ground immunity makes it even greater. But also like as a physical thing, because it's obviously weak against like elemental Pokemon special moves like Flamethrower and Thunderbolt and stuff. But I think Skarmory definitely does well for itself, and it's been treated well in every single generation it shows up in. I think it kind of got mogged by Corviknight in some respects, but Corviknight didn't get a Mega Evolution, so you know, whatever. The nicknames. You know what? I actually don't. I mean, the nicknames. Maybe Rokado for Hitmontop that I really. Only because I used to play Capoeira Fighter 3, and Mr. Rokado's a Capoeira practitioner, but the rest of them really haven't like I had a solid generations-wide nickname. That stops with Girafarig, which is my favorite Psychic type Pokemon for Generation 2. I normally name my Girafarig Sideways in Generation 2, but I like Girafarig most out of all the Psychic type Pokemon because, one, I thought it would evolve. It's really cool, but it does stand out on its own. It's got 2 heads, and it's got decent defenses, and it's got like a decent moveset. Like it can work in high speed or low speed situations for sure. I think it might be actually faster than Farigiraf. Don't quote me on that. But also, it's just got that quirky Johto, you know, flair. You know, a Pokemon, it's a weird single stage, or for the longest time was a weird single stage that no one could seem to get rid of. But when Farigiraf came out, Girafarig stonks go up because it can get Eviolite. You know, it can become like a Calm Mind sweeper, much more successful than Farigiraf can. Like Farigiraf is like a tanky support Pokemon who has like anti like priority and stuff. Girafarig has its own role that I respect a lot. For the bug type, coming to these choices, gonna have to, okay, so because Scizor is my all-time favorite that I'll talk about later, you already know what type I'm gonna give Scizor. But Ariados is one of my favorite Pokemon, just design-wise. I wish that it got more. It was being like heavily prominently designed, prominently used by Naveen in Pokemon Legends ZA, but that Naveen's Ariados in Legends ZA was like the opposite of helpful, and every single time I saw it like in a raid or something, it was just running around and dying. But Ariados itself is a nice design that I like a lot, and I wish that they did something else with it or gave it an evolution. It's like the Pokemon I want the most justice for sure. For rock type, in my last take of this video, full disclosure, I've had to do this twice because I messed up my recording, even more than this one, but I'm gonna pick Tyranitar for this. I love Sudowoodo for what it represents, and it's like again, not very prominently represented in Pokemon media, which makes it unique in my eyes. But Tyranitar is an absolute monster, beast, mega jam Pokemon that demands your respect. It's got a unique typing. It's one of the most competitively successful Pokemon of all time, managing to raise one during a campaign basically makes sure that you're on easy mode. And even its most exploitable weakness, it has a chance on, you know, the quad weakness to fighting. It's got high defense, so good luck. You better have a high attacker who can for sure kill it in one hit, or you're going to be dealing with it. I mean, a fighting type Pokemon is both strong against rock and dark, but listen to me. It's good, okay? For the ghost type, it's just Misdreavus for this one, and I don't like love Misdreavus. I mean, I do like using it as an Eviolite like support like Trollmon or whatever, but it's not like my favorite. So because it's the only one and I don't like really love Misdreavus, I'm gonna leave it blank. And the same for Kingdra, actually. Not a huge mega fan. I mean, I like the Seadra line, but Kingdra is like, I don't know. I like Kingdra, I don't love it, you know? For the dark type, there's only really one choice here that makes sense besides, you know, my go-to for Murkrow, which I like, I love to use, but it's gotta be Umbreon. Umbreon's the best dark type Pokemon. One of them, anyways. It's the best evolution for sure, which is probably what I was going to say before my mouth started running, but my favorite evolution, which I think I have a plush that I'll show in a little clip, is Umbreon. I think it's a nice support type Pokemon. I think mine normally has Snarl and Foul Play and Wish and Protector or something like that. It can do Toxic Stall. You can take it as far as you want, and it's nice and it's cute. Oh god, it's one of the cutest looking four-legged critters out in this franchise, and I love Umbreon so much. For Steel type, man, you already know who it is. It is Scizor. My favorite Pokemon of all time is Scizor. I remember when I first started Pokemon 2 up on that Nintendo 64, the first Pokemon you see slicing up the air is Scizor. I gained a massive respect for it, especially in Generation 4, I think in Platinum, when it's got Technician Bullet Punch. It became like a really strong force of nature after not really even needing a Sword Stance to do some decent damage. But it's been prominently featured in every Pokemon game that has Mega Evolution as well, because Scizor's Mega Evolution is absolutely splendid. It doesn't flanderize it or parody it and give it like a feature that it doesn't need. Everything that Scizor needs. It's just one of the coolest, most bespoke designs I've ever seen for any monster collector game. And I tend to name my Scizors after sports cars like Camaro or Corvette or something like that. I think the one in ZA is definitely Camaro. I respect the steel type the most because of Scizor, and bugs too, obviously. Bugs and steels are like the types that are my favorite. Like Golisopod is my second favorite, and Goldengo is my third favorite, right? But Scizor has both of those combined, and it's really cool. It's just got, I like the shiny is not like, again, I'm not a huge fan of shinies. The design stands on itself in a vacuum without needing like any modifications. Just an overall amazing Pokemon and my favorite of all time. For fairies, a lot of these Pokemon are nice. I've used all of these to the end of the game before, besides the Granbull, who I have a lot of respect for its stats. But I hope in the future that Granbull gets like a ground fairy type expansion to make it like the nightmare Pokemon of Wolf Click. But out of all these choices, I think I'm gonna have to go with Togepi on a similar tangent to Teddiursa, because of the potential it provides when it evolves. Now, in Generation 2, that potential is just in Togetic, who's not a very good Pokemon at all. It's not a good normal type. It's not a good flying type because it has like high special attack, I think, and really low attack, and it's like got 2 physical types for its things. But in Generation 4, it turns into Togekiss, which is amazing, but it's just the potential of an egg. Like, eggs have potential. That's what they represent in our universe, right? Like, they will become something else. But Togepi, as it stands, is just a cute little thing that you'll know that you can take care of it and it'll grow into something nice. And I like that for it. It's nice and cute, and I love it. For my favorite starter in Generation 2, man, I love these starters. These are my favorite rack of starters, and I think that Typhlosion deserves a Mega. For Alligator and Meganium getting one and Typhlosion only getting a Hisuian form is really weird, but Typhlosion is my favorite starter. Out of all the starters I have to stomach, I think Typhlosion is the best from Generation 2 just because its versatility. Typhlosion has access to Earthquake, it has access to Thunder Punch, it has access to, all this stuff, and it's fast and it's reliable, and it won't like let you down before the end credits. For gimmick forms, wow. I think my opinions have changed because I did plan on putting Mega Scizor here for gimmick form, but man, I'm going to put Skarmory. Skarmory got a Mega Evolution in Pokemon Legends ZA that reminds me of a Fire Jet, but what I like about Mega Skarmory is that they didn't care about anything previous, like redesign it, let's go. Make it an attack bird. So Skarmory is a defensive Pokemon who can like roost, set up spikes, do some iron defense and stuff. But Mega Skarmory swaps those defenses out for attacking stats and gets really fast. And in competitive, I've been using Skarmory as a surprise killer of Charizard Y with Rock Slide, which is really neat. I do like, because Mega Scizor was that guy for the longest time. Obviously, I've spoken about the design of Mega Scizor. It doesn't like really take one feature and ham it all the way up. Like, look at how Feraligatr looks. Look how Mega Meganium looks. They gave Ampharos this stupid mane, right? Scizor it's just a Digivolution basically to something else. But Mega Skarmory, form change. Like, it could variably be an evolution, I'm gonna be honest. But as a Mega, I think it functions just fine. And for my favorite legend, I think Suicune is featured in a lot of games these days. It's in Pokken tournaments and it's in Pokemon Unite. But my favorite legendary from this generation has got to be Lugia. I never really liked Lugia. Lugia for a couple reasons. One, the design, amazing. The story behind Lugia's design, the implementation in the Pokemon IP, also very inspiring. I advise you go look that up. I'm pretty sure somebody has a story about that somewhere. I can't really tell it here for sure, but Anyways, Lugia also has one of the coolest flying type moves in Aeroblast that I love very much. I think it should have been redistributed a long time ago, but it's also not really good on Lugia itself, honestly, but it's there. And it's like, it's cool in every single iteration, but also just the design and the power that Lugia communicates, I think is really cool. And I do think it was a good move to communicate that power design and make it a psychic flying instead of a water flying. And of course, my favorite Generation 2 Pokemon of all time is Scizor. Scizor wins out. It's the coolest. I love it very much. And that is my Generation 2 25 sub special for Ultimate Pokemon Picker. Thank you for sticking with me. Did I miss anything? What are your favorite Pokemon this generation? Did you notice the micro cuts as I was editing this video? Is my video footage using too much Pokemon Stadium 2? Tell me in the comments. I will be there. I'm listening. I am waiting. Thank you guys for 25 subs. I really appreciate everything. And that's about it for me, man. I've been Super Nerd Pharaoh, and I'll see you guys next time. I got some good stuff coming out. I've been writing a lot, right? You'll see. You'll see.